Age Tech Innovators.
Hello, and welcome to Age Tech Innovators, the podcast where we explore how technology is transforming the way we care for our aging population. I'm Monty, your host, and each week we chat with inspiring leaders who are making a real difference in the lives of older adults, sharing innovations and ideas that help support and uplift those who need it most. Join us as we work together to build a brighter, more caring future for everyone. Now, let's dive in. So I have the pleasure of being with Rolf today. Rolf, thank you so much. I'm really excited for our conversation. Rolf, run me through who you are and what you do in 60 seconds.
Well, thanks for having me. My name is Rolf Bona. I'm now since 4 years the CEO head of Smart Life Care, the biggest service provider for elderly people, for preschoolers. I used to be 11 years head of the largest emergency call center for elderly people. So overall, 15 years of experience with elderly people living independent alone. And I think at the moment I have the best job on the world.
Well, I'm excited to jump into why you think that way. But before we go into exactly why you feel like you have the best job right now, how did you get into this sector? How did you end up supporting people at scale with technology? What was your origin story?
Well, I started a long time ago with emergency call services with a big German insurance company, providing help to people having accidents or falling ill abroad, organizing help. And then the technology had its development. We had the first persons which had kind of pictures with emergency buttons. So I made my first experience with this technology and also with another kind of help. If somebody is falling ill, lying in hospital, everybody takes already care with him. But I said, I want to be closer to the incident, try to provide immediate help. And one day, it means after 8.5 years in medical assistance, I had the opportunity to join the largest emergency call center specialized on elderly people and brought this company to white label, starting to work together with Swiss caregiving organizations, motivating them to take those devices and provide to their clients. It was untouched territory in the Swiss market. So I got the virus, and I say we have the best clients in the world. We can provide them services, help to stay independent, and they are so friendly. They are so thankful for the services we provide for them. So every evening when I go home, I know I have done something really good for our clients, and the feedbacks we get, they are superb.
That's so lovely to hear and so wholesome as well. You mentioned that you wanted to get closer to the individuals who you were supporting. What was the reason for this? What was the reason that you wanted to move slightly closer towards those individuals?
I've seen that there is not enough, let's say, there was not enough done in the market for those persons, let's say elderly people. They had the possibility to get some ugly red buttons, technology out of the stone age, making them more or less more dependent and independent, stigmatizing them. And I was unhappy with that. For sure, everybody has his family. In every pitch you hear about the grandmother or granny. That's not. But I've seen the situation in the society. I've seen the situation on the technology. I've seen there is room for improvement. I've seen there are the technologies on the market, and so if I start to do something, I do it right, and then I push forward. And wherever I was able to push with my partners, with my best and biggest clients, the Swisscom national telecom provider, I motivated them to go into the market and ended up to be the CEO of this company.
Amazing. You mentioned some really big collaborators and really big partners. How did you partner with, did you say the Swiss telecom infrastructure?
Actually, Swisscom had a strategy to do more for the silver age generation to come. Everybody's talking about it. And at the same time, still was the shutdown of analog telephone in Switzerland. The guy leading this project, I had already a contract with him. We were providing their emergency call services. So he got in touch with us and I said, hey, if you want to go with a new technology, go on the mobile connections, go stop those stigmatizing, end this red button design, give your clients a choice. And they did it, yeah. So Swisscom has seen, yeah, okay, it's a very worthy business. It's not the biggest business, not at all. Therefore, they decided to make a spin-off, a joint venture with Helvetia Insurance Company of Switzerland. Now we are 100% member of Helvetia Insurance Company, but still connected to Swisscom. And for them, it's very important to provide services also for their elder client. For sure, buying an iPhone, the subscription is much more lucrative for them, but they want to provide services to their clients for the whole life.
So it sounds like in Switzerland, you've been through the analog to digital transition already. Everything is already digital, and you're now just building on top of a digital infrastructure.
Yeah, actually, this has been done, I think, about 10 years ago.
How does it feel to be 10 years ahead of the UK?
Just in Germany, and that's already a big difference, but we're still behind Estland and those other companies. They are far ahead of us all. No, it's okay. It was a change. The change was quickly done. For sure, we are now depending on the mobile technologies, especially if you're talking about security. Now, an emergency call over landline, if there is no power, you will not be able to reach the help. So you have to go full on mobile devices, and there you have a position all over the country now for 5G, and everything is evil, but everybody wants to profit of it, and those are the challenges. But so we're always one step behind now. With our devices, we're all on 3G and 4G LTE, and we wait how the development is going to be on 5G and wait until this is really good in the market and safe.
Okay, how much do you look, because you've worked in emergency response, you've worked within call centers, you mentioned one of the largest ones, and now you work very much within the PERS space, so you're getting rid of that old antique red button and you're providing improvements to service users. Where do you think the monitoring center will head? And I mean that in terms of, how do you think monitoring centers will look in 5-10 years time, considering you're already 5-10 years ahead of what we're seeing in the UK? Right now, they are purely just reactive. Where do you think the offering from both the PERS space and the monitoring center space will go?
I think we already started, and there is a need that all the routine work, let's say all those technical stuff, routine calls, check your power, whatever you should get rid of. That means it should be automatic there. I hope new technologies will help us, if there are good bots, to help us to call the clients, ask them to check the battery of the device or whatever. I think there we can get more time for conversations. That means the monitoring center should change its role, not only monitoring and taking charge in emergencies. They should build up much more services for social calls. To be healthy as an old person, you need good food, you should have some movement, and you need social contacts. Therefore, ourselves in our monitoring center, we do not have any false alarms. That means the service provider we have right now, they don't have any false alarms, they don't have alarms and social calls. That means every contact, if it's a false alarm, is a contact, a personal contact, And the monitoring center may ask them, how are you? If they're feeling bad, why are you feeling bad? Okay, you made a false alarm by touching the fridge. So what are you making for dinner or for lunch? And having a little chat. They are paying their monthly subscription. And so the monitoring center, we have a communication. I think an emergency device is not only for emergency. It's first of all, it's a way to communicate. So include much more communication, include much more contact to the person. If they're doing false alarms, you may be the only person they talk to the whole day. And there, the mentality in all those monitoring centers has to be changed, but they also need more time to do this. So get rid of all the daily work you do not have to do I think with the help of new technologies. And there you have to be willing to integrate this technology.
It's a super interesting angle because at least the monitoring centers I see and the PERS dealers, but mainly monitoring centers that I see, is their aim is to remove all of these non-emergency communications with the service users. But you're saying right now, within Switzerland, if someone presses their pendant by accident, it's not a quickly shut it down, false alarm. It's seen as an opportunity to engage and communicate and do some well-being check-in calls to that service user.
Absolutely. That's the way we have people.
How long has that been going on for? Is this a recent addition?
Actually, we started when I was responsible for the monitoring center. It was easy, to go like this, and it had to be a change in mentality with the operators. When I started first in the monitoring center, they were asking, who is the client? And they said, well, the guy who is paying the company or the caregiving organization, and we have to get as much money for as less service as possible. And I said, well, no. And they got a monthly subscription. They have the right to request services, and they are customers. That means the person in need of care, those persons, they have the right to get services, and the chat is a service. A nice hello, how are you? That is a service. And that was long work to get everybody to this point. And you just have now the problem if somebody's changing from another monitoring centers to our partner, to our monitoring center, that you have to change this mentality. But most of them are happy about it. And then they have to learn that they treat those people. It's quite simple. Treat them as you want to be treated when you are old. Because normally if they make a false alarm, they feel bad. Sorry, I was disturbing you. Well, it's middle in the night. And then you can say, hey, I'm waiting for that, and I'm happy that nothing happened. How are you? Oh, I'm feeling bad. Why? Yeah, my son is dead, or whatever. You have plenty of stories, and it's really worth to take this time. And you also have to teach your caretakers in the monitoring center. You have to give them the stories as well. Sometimes, they had a talk, a chat. Next day we get the information the person had died. So you were the person who talked the last time with him, who was sharing his memories or whatever. And they had a living. They had 90 years. They had 80 years of living. They have to grow up. They have kids which grown up. They have plenty of troubles to deal with. So give them full respect, respect their dignity. And this should be included, as we are in the person industry. We are specialized for those people. We are not, we don't have our ambulances down there and 100 of calls waiting. We have it's a different rhythm. So get waste of all calls we do not need, technical issues, installation issues, get rid of this. Try there to put in all possible new innovation to have more time for the chat.
When you look outside of Switzerland, do you see any other countries doing this, or is this really a Swiss approach?
I can't say it's a Swiss approach. We have other companies on the market which do it different. But I think we we are open to this approach because we don't have any insurance company nor any state or local organization paying for this service. So we need happy customers. But in the other countries, I see as long there is an insurance company or whoever paying a service, paying for it, they do not understand to provide only this full service. They are happy if they get the money at the end of the day. And we see it as an example with design. We give a lot of money for designs. We do our own designs, helping them to provide jewelry buttons, nice little watches. That means that an emergency button does not look like an emergency button. Over the border, they don't care. They don't just care that they can make the subscription and they get the money from the insurance. So they have no motivation for this. And this is... So I don't know any other country which really does it the same way. No, not at all.
There's a lot of promise in this idea of a self-funded / private paying model, which is what some companies have raised significantly more funds off the back of saying, we will at some point be able to enter into this private market and make it work. It's talked about a lot in the UK, it's talked about a lot in the US, but it's never really materialized. Why do you think it's working so well in Switzerland? I think you've already mentioned it's because there's emphasis on the actual customer getting the value, because that's the customer who's paying for it. Is there any other areas? And last part of the question is, do you have any rough stats about how many people would be eligible for this type of technology and the penetration rates in Switzerland? I think listeners from outside or from around the globe would be interested if you have any of the numbers.
Well, I didn't put down, but what I can tell you, our customers, the average age is 84 years old. And they keep their device normally for 2.5 years. And if you compare to the United States, where I have the numbers quite fresh, there are the customers between 70 and 75. So we have quite a high annual customership. It's getting older every year. So they are better in shape. And thanks to our health system and to access to good nutrition. And we cover about 2.5% of the over 80s in Switzerland, which is very low. It has been lower. It has been at 15 years ago, we have been at 1.2%, which it was very few. But there was also a lack of information because it was only the only guys getting an emergency button was when they were leaving the hospital after having broken their leg. And then there was either you accept to take this device or you have to go to an elderly care home. And we'll do a lot of information for service provider, but also for the clients themselves to teach them, to give them the information. And those are also the results. We know the studies that if you have a purse, if you feel safer, you will live about 3.5 years longer at home. And that means money saving. Here in Switzerland, Zurich, in the state I live, if you have to go to an elderly care home for 3.5 years, the money you pay yourself or your family has to pay is 150,000. Compared to the subscription you have, the monthly, which starts at about 30 Swiss francs. It's certain money.
Has there been a study on this? Because I think one of the things people are struggling to find is real proof that you have this and it increases the amount of time stayed.
Actually, that was study proven. You find those documents also on our homepage. The basis on it, we made a worldwide study. We paid somebody in the United States to go through those studies made about PERS, and then at the end of the day, we will verify it with the numbers we have. So we actually in Switzerland did 3.4 years, and on worldwide basis, they say 3.5 years. You stayed longer at home if you have a PERS by feeling safer, by having much more mobility because you're feeling safer. Maybe also because you need false alarms and have more social contacts. I don't know. But those are all proven. We have a lot of information on our website. This is also a focus for us together with the major organizations for elderly people in Switzerland, that's Spitex, Schweiz, and Prosenectute. Those are the two major non-profit organizations, state-funded for elderly people. There are official partners, and we now provide really information for everybody involved. We all want to save money. We don't have enough caregivers on the market. So we see with little money a lot of help to this for the elder people to stay independent.
That's huge. That's really, really huge. I think that's something which has been missing in the educational piece. At least what I've seen in the UK is that they're not really saying, hey, by having this, you'll be able to keep your granny at home for an extra 3 years. They're not really saying that at all.
Yeah, you'll find those in documents on our website. They are verified. You see the links to which study we have taken the data. It's all verified for the public.
That's epic. So if we zoom out, you've got in Switzerland around 2%, I think, 2.3% penetration rate. And
2.5, not all company gives their numbers. Those are only the customers which are contracted to providers like we are, and then you have download number which buy their first on Amazon or if use their Apple Watch or whatever. But those are the numbers.
I'm only asking because one of the challenges we see is how can we increase that percentage so that more people are supported at home. What do you think one of the biggest challenges that we face are around this?
I think one thing is information about the benefit, really, and the positive information. In 2009, when I started in the market, the only promotion you have seen, oh, I'm on the ground, I need the red button. And this is wrong. And we say, if you have our device, you are independent. You still live at home. So you have do a lot of information, make the right promotion for independence, giving the facts, giving the hard facts about the financial impact, giving the hard facts, what happens if you lie on the ground 24 hours. You have to give the full package on one side, and on the other side, keep the cost for the services low. That's very important. In Switzerland, I think almost everybody can afford our services, but if you look to other countries, you have maybe 10% of the population which can afford a per service. And so make it available to all. So also concentrate in the innovation, not on the absolutely fancy. We cannot send an AI robot from Musk to every elder family. No, it's not affordable. It's not affordable. All those fancy innovations are going right. But my question is also, how many percentage of the world population can afford this service? Or even in your own country, if you're in America at the CS in Las Vegas, and you ask those guys, hey, who can afford this? 1%, 2%. So make it affordable, make it nice, make it positive, give them a positive image. So that it becomes something common as to wear a safety belt in your car. Everybody accepts that and sees the benefit, but not everybody has every day a crash. So we have to go there and motivate also the state to fund this service, I think, because at the end of the day, it's a very good investment. But depending on the country, you have a little bit wrong system. Here in Switzerland, as an example, if I'm in a care home, my health care insurance has to pay less as when I'm at home. So they do not have any interest that I stay longer at home. So, sometimes you have also to change a little bit the regulations. But if you keep the prices low, if you have nice products, if you keep them simple, and also very important, right, with all this innovation, our customer, that means the elderly people, they have to understand how it works. As an example, with your automatic call with the voice of the daughter, she has to understand that's not my daughter. That's my daughter, which is sending me a voice message. And she's going to be happy. She's going to accept that. And they already know the voice message, so that's okay. But they really have to understand how the service is working. They should not feel monitored. They don't feel happy. You will not feel happy if you're monitored. I will not feel happy if I'm monitored. There are also some ethical questions which we as companies, as we as innovators, are responsible to focus on that as well.
What are some of those ethical questions?
Yeah, I think the monitoring. We have a lot of times family members are calling, am I able now to see wherever my dad goes, where my mom is going and whatever? And we say no. Or from the technical point of view, yes. But we say no. If your dad feels bad, if he has an emergency, he will trigger an alarm and then you will get his position. But it's not a supervision. Okay, there are circumstances where you need that, but it's mainly in specialized elderly care homes where we have people with heavy illnesses and what, but not for people living independence. Sensoric, which takes every breath, which takes every movement, so your son can see when you woke up, when you went to the toilet, when you opened the fridge, when you watched too long television. No, but you can buy these services already today. All this technology exists. And so it's on us to see, is this a benefit to the society or just we got the tools, so we do it? So I think our customer is the person which is using the device. She should understand, she should agree with the technique, and then, it's going to be a positive development.
I appreciate that. What do you think would happen to companies who aren't actively introducing new innovation? And I mention that because we last met at the Medical Alert Monitoring Association in DC, which is a place where there's a lot of innovation and discussions happening. So it's clear that you're very open-minded to new innovations. Where do you think companies who aren't actively trying to try new things are going to be heading in the next 5 years?
It's already happening right now. We see it on our market in Switzerland as an example. We have one company which is not moving, now starting a little bit to copy our business model, but they lose clients because our clients are not only the users, but there's also the family behind. They will see who is moving, who's going forward. Those companies just saying, we do not change our service as long as we get paid by the state. We don't change anything. One day the state will see, hey, there is a young, fresher company doing it better. Respecting more the dignity of customers, so we quit your contract and you're out of the game.
So it's already happened.
That happens on every market where you allow the market to play.
And last question, because I can't believe we've already been chatting for over half an hour. My question is, for new innovators, for people who are wanting to enter into this space, looking to maybe bring company ideas or even come and work for companies like yourself, what encouraging advice would you give to these people entering or considering entering this space?
The first advice, start and go to the market as fast as possible. Don't stay in the room for endless development. Don't stay in the room and go out of the door and say this is the perfect solution. Not only test with the volunteer elderly people open to any test, do the test on the market where people may have to pay for your service and listen to them. Listen to also the people which are already on the market. They may agree or not agree, but every experience you share is a benefit. And don't wait too long. Have your idea, get out, try it, test it, and then you see how it's working and do it work, test it on the real market.
I always get hyped up whenever I ask that question because I always hear things that are super motivational, and that's definitely one of the most motivational I've heard, which is get out your room, stop building, and start trying to sell it or start trying testing it. My last question is, imagine waking up and it's 50 years or 60 years down the line, and you look in the mirror and suddenly you're you're an elderly man, and you're even more, or not, I wouldn't say even more, you've started to go grey. I'm going grey. I'm going grey. You look in the mirror and you start to go grey, and you look down. Your arms are wrinkly. What would you like to see, and what would you like to use when you are maybe in 50, 60, 70 years time, an elderly man?
What would I like to use? Yes, maybe a robot which helps me at the house, cleaning the house cleaning services and stuff like this. This will be the most important for the daily routine, maybe in shopping support or whatever, and the connection to my family or where they are. That's the most important. Yeah, and I'm not able to go fishing to Scotland. I want to see them fishing live on the Highlands.
You could do virtual fishing. It could be a robot where you could be virtually fishing, and then there could be a rod attached to some motors over in the Highlands.
As much support as possible, as easy at home, and as much possible contact with the family.
That's lovely. Well, Rolf, I've learned a lot. I think some of my main takeaways today was how you're having a lot of success within Switzerland because you're...
One important point.
Please tell me. Please.
About the companies which are close to innovation. We have employers. We have to pay them. And if you do not accept innovations, your costs for your business will rise. And innovation should help to save money. So one day, if they are not absolutely stately founded, they will be bankrupt anyway, because they will not be able to provide the same service as other companies do with 10% of the workmanship.
No, I appreciate that. Just to really emphasize that, so innovation is something which you have a responsibility to adopt because it will help you stay sustainable as the maybe costs to deliver services increases, or the costs around you, or the cost for other businesses to deliver their services decreases. And so you have an obligation for people you employ and your service users to adopt innovation.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. No, yeah, that's a huge one. Rolf, thank you so much for your time. It's so great to chat, and hopefully catch up with you soon.
Thank you a lot. It was nice to have you.
Bye. Peace.